Quality InfoWars
We're
Live.
on the march.
It's up.
The Empire's on the run.
It's up to you.
Alex Jones and the GCN
It's
Radio
up to you
Network.
to energize us. We need the energy.
U.S. recruited entertainment corporations to help in propaganda war against Islamic State and Russia. A search through the leaked Sony email archive shows a close relationship between CEO Michael Linton and President Obama, as well as officials at the State Department. In total, there were nearly 100 government email addresses in the archive. WikiLeaks editor-in-chief Julian Assange said, "This archive shows the inner workings of an influential multinational corporation. It belongs in the public domain. WikiLeaks will ensure it stays there." WikiLeaks also notes Sony Pictures Entertainment CEO Michael Linton is on the board of trustees at the RAND Corporation, an organization specializing in research and development for the United States military and intelligence sector. With this close tie to the military-industrial complex, it is no surprise that Sony reached out to RAND for advice regarding its North Korean film, The Interview. See the full article at Infowars.com.
Hi, I'm Alex Jones. When I got on air 20 years ago, I weighed 180 pounds. I lift weights 5 days a week. I could swim 2-3 miles. Then I discovered the New World Order, the globalists, their agenda. I started an access television show. I was so dedicated to my work and hanging around with radio guys that I began drinking. I began smoking cigars and then even cigarettes. I transformed from looking like a white Bruce Lee to looking like a Jabba the Hutt. So I began a journey 5 years ago to shed the almost 100 pounds. I started taking Super Male Vitality and saw dramatic results in just a few weeks. When I added to the mix the key products developed by Dr. Group for InfoWarsLife.com, the results were incredible. Take the InfoWarsLife.com challenge today at InfoWarsLife.com or give our crew a call. They can answer all your questions or tell you about any of the specials at 888-253-3139.
Another major health threat, this one in Toledo, Ohio, where everybody in the entire city has been told not to drink the water.
Ohio's governor declaring a state of emergency.
Did you know that the average person uses about 80 to 100 gallons of water at home every single day? If there's a water emergency, will you be prepared?
Panicked residents forming long lines throughout the day.
We're here at a supermarket in Toledo. You can see the shelves empty where water once was.
To stay safe and healthy during a crisis, you must have access to safe, clean water. Water which will not be available at your local grocery store.
There's a mad dash on right now to stock up on supplies.
The ProPure Pro 1 G2.0 water filtration system is a must-have for every modern, independently minded household. Protect your family's safety during an emergency. Go to InfoWarsStore.com today to purchase your ProPure Pro 1 G2.0 water filtration system or call 1-888-253-3139.
Take you live to the Central Texas Command Center and the heart of the resistance. It's Alex Jones.
I'll say it again. Anybody wants to understand what's happening, study how the Nazis basically had 99% of the French military stand down when the Germans ran over the Maginot Line and invaded France and took the country in just 2 short weeks. And that was only battling the British Expeditionary Force. And then forcing them out at Dunkirk at the sea. And then if you want to go further, you can see how twice, not once, most of Saddam Hussein's generals were paid off in both Gulf Wars previously to stand down. And that's because before that, for over a decade, Saddam's military was trained in the U.S. and were allies from the Iran-Iraq war. Same program. The Pentagon even wrote after the fact, it wasn't widely published, but it was in Defense Quarterly and publications like that, how they used the German tactic. So I'm not telling you something that's my theory. I know what's going on. Under Clinton, still under Bush, exploding under Clinton. It went on during Bush, the same program, but quieter. It just metastasized under Obama, they are out basically probing every community leader they can, every person of influence they can, radio stations, TV stations, journalists, you name it. They legalized domestic propaganda last year. They'd already been doing it. And they're now, quote, having the Pentagon, as they reported last year in that press conference. The headline of the article was, Pentagon promises to stop lying because of Drudge. And then it goes on to show the hour-long press conference by the Undersecretary of the Army. No, it was of the Defense Department. And they're there with hundreds of military in the room and PSYOPs people, the heads of departments, and they say, we'll now go out and help the local media report accurately. We're going to be embedded with you. And the military gets up and goes, does this mean we're going to stop lying? And he's like, well, not exactly. We're going to be involved everywhere now to make sure we tell the truth and get their trust back. I mean, and you look at the morale of the people in the room, they look like they have just been seeing their child die. I love how the flags even have the "Don't Tread on Me" snakes behind him, but now they're phasing that out in the military and saying it's politically incorrect. I mean, it's just amazing. Because they all know the PSYOP is they're now going to triple the lying. But the good news is the military, it's in USA Today, has the lowest morale ever. I'm not saying it's good they have bad morale. It's good that they're good people. That's why they say, and when they get out, they're the enemy. I mean, imagine they're teaching the Army and the military, your number one enemy is veterans. They're like, that's my brother and my dad and me. Well, they're going to blow stuff up. What? I'm going to ride my motorcycle, try to get a job, have some kids, or take care of my kids. What do you mean I'm going to blow up cops? What are you talking about? It's like Joe Biggs is on TV earlier with us. He's just going, what? I'm going to blow. I mean, what is this crud? He wants to go water surfing, wake surfing on the back of the boat with some girls. You don't want to kill people in America? This is the biggest stinking frame-up I've ever seen. And I predicted you'd start hearing that patriots that committed crimes with Al-Qaeda and ISIS. This week they came out twice and said patriot groups are hacking government servers and then claiming ISIS has done it with no proof. Kind of like they released the Sony stuff, the Pentagon, and the cybersecurity did, and then blamed it on that idiot Kim Jong-un that can't even tie his shoelaces. By the way, they admit he gets his shoelaces tied for him. So it's the most helter-skelter program. But here's the deal. There's a method to it. They want to anger the military and get the Christians and the patriots, people that are awake, out, and then rotate in all their bureaucrats and the new commandos. And it's not that the new commandos will pretty much all be gay. I'm not saying they're bad because they're gay. It's that's in the news today. It's that politically they just are a bunch of America-hating, freedom-hating, property-hating, gun-hating control freaks who dream of some glorious civil war with the American bitter clingers. And, I mean, once you actually attack the bitter clingers, it's all over, dummy. It's like going up to a full-grown grizzly bear and punching it in the nose. You're such idiots. You really have taken our restraint as a sign of weakness instead of extreme control. Extreme control. Because every passing day, the power of the liberty movement grows and more people wake up, and every passing day, your tyranny bleeds to death. We're killing you by tens of millions of cuts. Writing websites on money, on walls, telling people, calling into radio, running for office, voting with our dollars, supporting independent media, citizen journalists everywhere, documenting what you're really doing, not what you say, till your PR machine's ground to a halt. You want to have a war with the American people, and you think you're going to win that when you come out in the open? I don't care how many false flags you pull. It's over. But they know that. They want their failed system to bring the country down, and then that will break the country regardless, and then they come in after the long winter, the long depression, and buy everything up for pennies on the dollar after we've all wiped each other out. That's the plan. You see, you couldn't take America down from outside. There'd be a rifle behind every blade of grass To quote Admiral Yamamoto, "I fear we've awakened a sleeping giant." He had to try to convince them, no, we don't want to try to land in Oregon with troop ships. It's not going to go well. Nowadays, if they'd landed in troop ships wearing peak uniforms, going, tranny, 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 literally everyone would just kneel and go, oh, and just, here are our children, if it's politically correct, don't be racist, shooting everybody. I mean, that's what political correctness is. Drink your fluoride, take your Obamacare, open your borders, pay for everything, or you're a racist. It's just a psychological war. But once the trance is lifted, and the sleeping giant is starting to wake up, once the trance is lifted, people have a very fast learning curve. Once they're broken, the mind control. I want to go to these clips. But basically, all hell is now breaking loose. The only way to take over is from within, as Cicero said about Rome. The outside invader comes with their banner openly. It's the traitor within that infiltrates. We've been taken over like Vichy France, like Iraq. We've been infiltrated with a classic CIA, Rand Corporation takeover program. And it's a big nut to crack, but man, they're doing it. Off the esprit de corps of the military, getting all these wannabes, all these guys, you know, that are like 70-something years old, nothing against that. But, who want to be, insurance salesmen that make $300,000 a year and they want to be a cop and then they think it's a taser and it's their gun. Imagine the feds approaching and going, we're going to give you an InfraGard card or a Homeland Security card, even pay you and go out and recruit other people. And here's your gun and you're even licensed to kill when you're given the code on your smartphone. And, man, these guys are walking on air. That they're now InfraGard. I've had them walk up to me and McBrain and others on the street, and Leanne McAdoo once going, you're not allowed to film in America. We're going to get you soon. The guy's wearing like a $2,000 suit. He's like, that's right. I'm part of it. And we're like, oh, you're part of the InfraGard? How do you know that? I mean, you give them an armband, you give them a button, it's all over. But we need our own buttons. We need our own symbols. So people know, hey, we're here to help. We just want basic, low taxes, sovereignty, freedom, a border, and our 5-year-olds not to be taught how to, give oral sex. Pretty reasonable. They're like, no, because they have a will to conquer. We just have a will to be free. They have a will to conquer, just like I can't stop fighting them. I guarantee you, folks, they could torture me and I couldn't stop. I can't stop. It burns in my bones, to quote some passage from the Bible. I forget where. Can you find the burning in the bones passage? It's Old Testament. Is it Ezekiel? I mean, I burn because I don't want, just like I burn if I caught a burglar in my house. I mean, we're being gang raped. I want to go to these clips. This is Big Spring City Council. And remember, this is in a backdrop of video in the last week and headlines everywhere at these drills to take on the Tea Party and gun owners. I mean, I can play you the clips. Veterans, gun owners, Tea Party. They say, we're going to start killing everybody imminently with no evidence. It'd be like if I called the cops 20 times over the years saying, my neighbor's, going to kill somebody. My neighbor's going to kill the other neighbor. When the other neighbor gets killed, the first person they're going to come to suspect is me. And the globalists, the Democrats, especially, the Republicans go along with it. That's why they're scared. They keep telling them, the Patriots are going to blow up buildings. The Patriots are going to kill cops. I mean, this is such an obvious frame-up. But now they're going operational with this, which makes me think they're not going to let Obama leave office before they pull this. Because America is being conquered right now. The treaties are all being signed. The borders are being dissolved. Our military is being put under NATO. It's all happening. Because if you run this empire, you run it all. While the stock market implodes. All right, let's go to clip number 3. We need civilian cooperation and help. This is Mr. Meade in Big Spring City Council meeting just 3 days ago. Here it is.
Special Operations Command, being the director of the exercise, desires to have a very rural area for us to be able to operate in. Because the last few years, these guys have, in Afghanistan and Iraq, They receive aerial resupply by helicopter about once a week. They live in buildings. They have connectivity to the internet.